Mic check, testing 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, give me 1 second to get set up and then we'll get started. So, so sometimes in, this business, things happen that are out of your control. And this episode is a prime example. We're supposed to have Dean, myself, Rainer, and Seth. And Seth unfortunately wasn't feeling good today, came down with a cold. And if you're on auxiliary, you've seen already, but Rainer and Dean were in a pretty bad car accident on the way here. Thankfully, they're all right. Cars can be replaced, and Dean is going to need some stitches on his eyebrow. But chicks dig scars, and like I said, the car can be replaced. But I'm very thankful that both of them are all right. But we do have a phrase, in this business, and that is that the show must go on. So bear with me as I try to stumble through this show sheet and the show by myself. I think it's the first podcast I've done by myself in probably over 60 episodes, so I'll probably be a little rusty about it, but let's get started. Hey guys, my name is Zach. Welcome to this week's episode. Wow. Wow, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous to do this by myself. Okay. Hey guys, my name is Zach. Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. It's a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting. Dean, Rainer, Seth, all out of commission, but we have a good show planned for you guys. We have lots of new things to talk about, some Spider-Man stuff, some Dark Crystal stuff, and a little bit of local drama with a local toy show. So let's get into it first with new this week. Now, I had a pretty interesting week. I picked up a Black Series Cara Dune, and honestly, really solid figure. The articulation is okay. She has a long machine gun, and I wish that she could hold it up a little better. I feel like with the shoulder pads, she doesn't. She's not able to really holster it like I imagine someone would hold that weapon. and the included handle that's on the top of the rifle, it seems pretty fragile. It's definitely cast in like a sort of like a marbled gunmetal plastic. And after having her hold the gun once, I could tell that the handle would probably snap if I wasn't too careful. It was kind of like turning white on the perimeter. So I want to watch out for that. Sticking with the Mandalorian theme, Manny, shout out to Manny, picked up the Funko Pop rather, Mandalorian, which is something I had a lot of trouble finding. I saw lots of IG-11, lots of Cara Dune, but I did not see any Mandalorian. I feel like he might have been a harder one to find, and even on Amazon, I feel like I couldn't find that pop often. It kept saying like it was in stock, but it was like at a more premium price point, and every time I went to order it, it would say like, "Oh, this is a pre-order product for Halloween or late November." So Manny was able to track one down, and it's looking pretty good. One thing that I also got that we'll talk about a little bit later is a new project to work on, and we've done I think at this point we've done four projects for auxiliary, and this is I think our fifth. Jason is in the chat. He said, "Glad they're okay. He should have stepped in for the show." You should have, man. I posted that thing like an hour ago. I would have loved to have someone in person. I had a bunch of people from Ox actually offer to come in on StreamYard, but I had already set up all the mics for in-person recording, and it's a pretty different setup for doing it over StreamYard. Obviously, we're on StreamYard now, but to be able to hear you in my ears and for you to be able to hear me, it's like a different arrangement, and it's kind of a hassle to redo the wiring. So I thought I'd do it solo and see how that goes, just in case Dean ever decides to leave me. But yeah, that was it for my new this week. It was a pretty interesting week. There's one more thing that I'm in the process of picking up. I'm talking with Rainer about it. And due to the accident, it's actually in the office right now, but I don't want to talk about it just yet. We're still dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the deal, but it's very exciting. And it's something that I think I've wanted for a while. So we will talk about that next week. But again, I'm really appreciative that all the Ox members, volunteered their time pretty much on a whim on a Tuesday night to be here and record with me. So, Jason, I appreciate your kind words, and we do hope that they are okay. I think they're fine, though. Dean was texting me a little while ago about, what was it, about the projects. He had dropped off some 3D prints. Well, I wouldn't say dropped off. When they were towing or getting ready to move his truck, we emptied it just in case. And, I called him, check up on him once he got to the emergency room, and he didn't call me back right away, and I was freaking out because of that. But when I did manage to talk to him, he was more concerned about the 3D prints being started than, the stitches he would need. So I think he's in good spirits, all things considered. Now, this is obviously the new pre-order segment of the show, but this figure has not actually gone up for pre-order. I imagine we'll have some numbers and release dates next Tuesday. But this is the Young Rich Spider-Gwen. Now, this figure is coming in two versions. You can see here there's the schoolgirl, opening part of the movie, Gwen, and very simple figure, and I think it looks quite nice. But of course, they do a costume Spider-Gwen, and I have a lot of problems with this figure. One, I think that the head is perfect. I'll just say that right away. I think the unmasked portrait is really nice, but when you look at the costume, it just doesn't really look that good. I think the hood is a little small. They put like a weird texture throughout the suit. And I know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to give it some sort of dimension, but I really feel that the print or whatever they did to the fabric to give it that texture just did not work. And it kind of, leads us to an interesting discussion because this figure looks really good in the sculpt, and everything else looks pretty bad. With the bullet head, which is it's up for pre-order already. I think it comes in at 150 if I remember correctly. That one has a really nice figure, but the unmasked Gwen Stacy head is pretty poor. I know a lot of people were thinking they were going to combine the head sculpt of the bullet head, or rather the head sculpt of this one with the body of the bullet head to create like an ultimate figure. But I really feel like the Young Rich Gwens, because of that fact, the unmasked portion, they're going to be harder to find because I think so many people are going to try that out. Here's another look at the figure, and it just it looks really bad. That's really the only way to describe it. I mean, there's some pictures in the album that Young Rich posted where it does look really natural, like the articulation and the way the suit moves and kind of goes with the body. Um, but in other pictures like this, it just looks awful. And I feel like for a character like Spider-Gwen, the hood is so important to the look. And if you're not nailing that, I feel like everything else is pointless. And for me, I really feel like that's kind of the biggest hang up with this. I feel like if the hood was a little better, I think I could probably live with the suit and obviously with the nicer head sculpt, but this just looks really bad. I don't know. I just don't like it. And a lot of people that canceled their bullet head once the Young Rich head sculpt leaked are now going back and trying to re-pre-order the bullet head version. So I definitely think there's going to be a seller's market for head sculpts of this Young Rich figure because so many people are going to be trying to get them. So, if you get this figure and you decide that you're okay with everything and you want to make a little bit of your money back, I definitely would sell those head sculpts because those I think are going to be going for quite the premium. I know we haven't talked about Dark Crystal for a little bit, but I saw that on Big Bad Toy Store over the weekend, Weta put up 2 new pre-orders. We have the Skek Tech, which is third quarter 2020, $500 buys you this. And this is a statue, so it's like a polystone resin. And this is Mark Hamill's character in the Dark Crystal Resistance. So definitely a cool figure there. We also got a Brea, $130 buys you this, releasing June 2020. So a little bit of difference between this one and Skek Tech, which is releasing Q3. I think both of these look okay, honestly. I think the Skek Tech looks a little bit more durable than the Emperor Skeksis. I don't have a picture on the slides, but the Emperor Skeksis had a bunch of greebly bits all over his back, and I feel like those would definitely be very fragile. And on this one, obviously, he does have some parts where I think there's some area for concern, but overall, I think it looks fairly decent. $500 though is quite a bit of money, especially when you think like the Rex statue that I have behind me. I think that retailed for like $650, and that's a 1/10 Tyrannosaur. That thing is like almost 30 something inches long. So this is like a 15-inch tall Skeksis character, and I don't know. I guess Weta kind of has their foot in the door, Chronicles into our company. Maybe that's why. But I really feel like the Rex, even though it was quite expensive, was a fairly decent bang for the buck. We have Mervin in the chat. He says, "Hey Zach, Lone Ranger tonight." Dude, Mervin, I'm like freaking out right now. I was like breathing really fast in the beginning of the show. I'm trying to calm down. It's been a night, with your best buds calling you and saying they got in a car accident, and when Dean called me, he's like, "Yeah, can you bring some towels or something because I'm bleeding everywhere?" And it's been a very it's been an intense night. So I'm trying to settle myself down and try to give you guys a good show. So if we're watching live, bear with me. Now this was an interesting pre-order. Rick and Morty have a Mondo exclusive and a regular figure, and by all accounts, this seems to be 6 scale. Now, when I say 6 scale figure, I guess I'd probably put it more to like a statue. There's a ton of different parts that come with these, and some of them are they're like swap out arms, so I don't think there's any actual true articulation in this figure. Um, you see we have two Rick heads, two Morty heads, two pairs of Rick arms, two pair of Morty arms, portal gun, bottle of booze, mind blower helmet, four mind blower tubes, and two figure stands. And the Mondo exclusive deluxe includes a Rick burping head, a evil Morty head, a Plumbus, a Pickle Rick minifigure, and the Rat Boss minifigure. So this is the regular edition here on the screen. And oh, did I not grab a picture of the deluxe? I did not. So the deluxe does have the it does have a few extra accessories. So I will see if I can drop a pic on Ox later. But definitely, it seems like a cool set. 1/6 scale because Rick comes in I think at 12 inches and Morty's a little bit shorter. 120 buys you the exclusive, and obviously with the exclusive you're paying for, the burping head, the evil head, the Plumbus, and then the Pickle Rick and Rat Boss. But the regular edition, which is this one here, is $100. So, $20 more for two heads and frankly one of several of the most iconic accessories. I don't think that's it's a bad exclusive. $20. I mean, I've given my thoughts on charging for exclusives, but usually it's like, you get one sculpt or like one thing. And for $20 here, you're getting two whole heads, the Plumbus, which is like, can you even have this without the Plumbus? And one of their cult favorite classic episodes, the Pickle Rick and the Rat Boss. I just feel like I feel like you can't go wrong spending the 20 extra bucks to get the Mondo exclusive. Mervin says, "Look at this. Always a positive when they call you and not someone else." Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I'm so bummed I screwed up on the slides. I usually try to double check them, but today was obviously a little bit different. The Lego put out a UCS Batmobile 1989. This is $249. Releases Black Friday. I think this looks pretty solid. I know Manny was pretty excited for the minifigs. Um, I know he has a custom, and I think it's a custom that's pretty close to this model here. Now, his is an unofficial mock, which is a my own creation, and I know a lot of the Bat fans in my life. They're very excited for this. So, $250. I think it has over 3,000 pieces. So the price per part ratio is a little bit better. I think for 3,000 pieces, I was expecting $300. Um, but yeah, it looks like a fine set. I know a lot of people that have some of the UCS figures, like Rainer, of course, and Seth. They both own a lot of UCS stuff, so perhaps they will get into it. Mervin says this Lego set is super tempting. Yeah, Mervin, I really think they nailed the price, man. 250. That's not chump change, but Batman stuff is really expensive. So, you can spend $100 and get the Iron Studios 1/10 scale Batman, which Manny saw and was really disappointed with, or you can maybe double up your money and get something like this, which is going to be a real premium, large scale display piece. So, really excited about that. Now, this week, this was going to be Dean's talking point, so I'm going to fumble my way through this, and if and when I screw up, we will redo this next week because I knew a little bit about this, but not everything. So the Black Series Heavy Infantry Mandalorian uh, Black Series figure leaked, pictures of the box art, and shortly after we actually saw the actual picture, which you see on the screen here, which is the figure in box. Now, once we saw the figure in box, there was a Night of Ren 789 on Instagram posted a in hand photo, looks like from a factory, of the figure, and it looks really good. Now, I think it looks really good, and at this point, there's no indication if this is from, the Mandalorian television show, if this is from, a video game that's coming out, if this is from The Rise of Skywalker. Um, I think it'll be interesting to see. I really hope it's not from the television show because I think I like the idea of him having, like an iconic set of armor. And if he's just going to change in a different gear every episode, I think it makes the Hot Toys kind of pointless. Um, but this was not without some drama. Now, Yak Face, Yak underscore Face, which is like a really big news channel for toys. They posted previous Black Series illustrations from Gregory Titus have been removed per his request. Images were reposted directly from his publicly accessible website, gregorytitus.com/Skywalker. He has since removed the page from his website, and I'm now blocked from his Instagram, or he has made his account private. Nothing malicious was intended by sharing those publicly posted images. And the images he posted here were a Luke Skywalker, looks like an ARC Trooper, Jar Jar Binks, Zeb, a Shadow Trooper, the video game Revan, the light side, and the Heavy Mandalorian Trooper. And these were the Black Series. They have like a little art on the left side of the box. And these were reposted. I guess this Gregory Titus guy does the illustrations. And I think backfiring, on Yak Face because you posted them on your website on accident. I think it's kind of poor taste. I know Yak Face is, really stand-up guy from what I understand. But because he did this, I feel like it's blown up even more. And obviously now people like us are talking about it. I think it's a really good wave. I'll be honest, I'm not sure which ARC Trooper this is. It could be maybe from the Clone Wars, could just be a regular ARC Trooper, but definitely looks really good. Jar Jar is a fan favorite, and Zeb, people have been wanting for a long time to complete the Ghost Crew. I think he's the last guy left. And the Revan was already up for pre-order at GameStop, so I don't think this was leaked that early. And the Mandalorian, I think, looks okay. There's also a Luke here. Looks like from Crate, but I think it's okay. I mean, honestly, I don't really like Jar Jar that much, but I'd pick him up from this wave. Especially after listening to Ahmed Best's story earlier this year. I think that was one of the most eye-opening things. So I'd definitely pick up a Jar Jar from this wave. I don't think I'd, pony up for the Hot Toys. But I'd buy the hell out of a Black Series Jar Jar Binks. Now this was an interesting one. Seth gave me the heads up on this. This is a 2001: A Space Odyssey Ares B and EVA pod set. That's set A. Set B is the Orion 3 and Moon Rocket bus set. These are both $93. That's $93 for two different craft. They're made by Belfiend Co. Limited, and they're releasing February 2020 for set A, and set B is releasing March 2020. I like the film. I obviously got real into the film this year. But I looked at what other things this company made because I've never heard of them. And they made a lot of like anime girl statues. And I'm not sure, I'm not saying that that's not an easy thing to do or a difficult thing to do, but this is so different than anything that's available on Big Bad Toy Store from them. And maybe they just have other craft that aren't currently listed. But I really feel like those are two totally different things. Like I feel like you can't excel at one and also excel at the other. So maybe these will be great, maybe they won't. I mean, the pictures look fantastic, honestly. $45 each. Maybe a bit expensive, but I'm not going to pick them up. If they make a XD01 Explorer, I'll definitely pick that one up. But I'm not going to pick up the what they have here. I'm not that interested in these. Mervin says Yak Face is really good for Black Series news, but they have their own controversies with their own IG page. That's not good. Jason Nelson says, especially after seeing my customer's Jar Jar, I worked on Sunday. Yeah, Jason, that Jar Jar mod was fantastic. I really liked it. Now, Sideshow showed a thing on their Instagram. I think it might still be up. But they said that the Mythos line returns, and this was last night, was 2 days, 2 hours, and 57 seconds. So tonight it's probably like 1 day, 12 hours, maybe 36 seconds, I don't know. And obviously it's Star Wars because there's a Death Star and TIE fighters in the background. And we've talked, a bit about whether Sideshow lost the license. Maybe they did. Maybe they got it back. I don't know. They haven't released anything in a year, and the last thing that they showed us hasn't come out yet, which was the Jabba disguised Lando. Rumor is they just got the Mandalorian license, so maybe we could see something from that TV show. Um, the Mythos is a really wonderful line. I actually really like it. I think it was like 1/5 scale statues. They had Darth Vader, Gamorrean Guard, Darth Maul. Pretty sure I butchered that. And a few other really iconic characters, and Obi-Wan, and it was just a really cool line. And if they're bringing it back, that's great. But I know a lot of people were disappointed in the, the recent premium formats, the Han, the Chewie, the Luke. I think they were pretty bad. So whether or not they're able to make a good statue at the end of the day, I just don't know. And I think for a lot of people, I think I'd rather, if they can, finish what they've already started with the Lando thing. They made such a big buzz at that SDCC when they showed it, but at this point, we haven't seen anything from it. And I know I guess it's kind of weird because the Mythos line never left. Like, well, it did, but then they brought it back with Mythos Obi-Wan, the 6 scale figure, and then Mythos Boba Fett. And Boba Fett's not out yet, so for them to say like the Mythos line returns when it's still a current line, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So we'll see. New releases, the quarter scale Mark III. This was released in Hong Kong, and I'm very confused about this because there hasn't been any like really good reviews on this. There's been a few guys that have uploaded a few short videos to YouTube, mostly just unboxings, like cell phone quality, but none of the big toy reviewers have it in hand yet, and I wonder why. Looking at all the pictures, I feel like the figure still has a lot of the issues that the 6 scale one had, namely the lack of articulation in the waist. If you notice all the figure pictures that are in action poses, they all are tilted to one direction, which is the torso tilted to the left, which is what the 6 scale one could do with the swap out part. But yeah, there's some issues with this, and it's quite expensive. But I'm gonna wait to give my full judgment on it until I see some really, really good people review it, give us some good in-hand shots, because, like I said, right now it's just kind of hard to see what really is going on here, outside of the blogger picks. Return of the Jedi Luke Deluxe was released. That's 6 scale. I really don't like this figure. I think that it's in very poor taste for Hot Toys to have made this figure, especially since pretty much everyone had their Jedi Luke and then they announced this. If they announce them both at the same time, that's one thing. But for them to, announce a figure, release it, and then shortly after announce a new, better figure for just a little bit more, it was like $50 more. Not a fan of that business model. I think the head sculpt looks really awful. The swept hair with the gritting teeth, I think it looks really awful. Especially, I know I've been talking, Ian and Pete talk about Inigo quite a bit. And I feel like Inigo, his V2 Luke sculpt, both the windswept and the standard, I think those are the way to go. And obviously buying that sculpt and having it painted to Hot Toys quality probably cost you more than this figure. But it just goes to show you that as good as Hot Toys is, there's always a bigger fish. And there's always people that I think that can outpace them in the painting or the sculpting department. But, those custom paint jobs and custom sculpts, they can definitely get up there. But yeah, I mean, this figure just looks like, I feel like they didn't really fix any of the problems from the first Jedi Luke. And I think it's just awful that they even made this in the first place. It just seems like really awful. The Sith Trooper was released. I think this is the regular edition. I know there was like a fancy like a early bird edition. And I have to say this this figure looks fantastic. The armor looks really good. The guns look really awesome. I guess my thing is what makes them Sith troopers, you know? I mean, pretty much all the stormtroopers work for the bad guys, which are the Sith. So, I guess every trooper is a Sith trooper, but you know, it'd be interesting to see what differentiates them. If they have force powers or if they're force sensitive, which I guess is the same thing. But I guess, with every film, we get new trooper designs. Some of them, like the patrol trooper, are, in the film for seconds, and they get a hot toy. And then you have, characters like the Death Trooper or the Shore Trooper, which, get some good screen time. They do some good stuff. And then the figure goes crazy value-wise. So I think the success of this figure is going to depend on what it does in the film. And, if it does quite a bit, I think that's really cool. But I just really hope it's just not one of those things that just shows up for 2 seconds like the patrol trooper. I really want to see some action from this guy. Now, this is something that Dean was really excited to talk about. Disney Toy Box, which is a line that we've talked quite a few times about on the show. They put out some new figures, so it looks like we have a Rey, Kylo, Sith Trooper, Poe and BB-8, 3PO, and R2-D2. I would love to get a Toy Box Mandalorian. That'd be awesome. And I know they have the potential to make it because they made Boba Fett, so they already have some of the molds. But maybe that'd be a custom project. That's not a bad idea either. That's not a bad idea at all. But yeah, Sith Trooper again looks really good here. And I've seen the carbonized Sith Trooper, I've seen the Black Series, the regular Sith Trooper, and then I've seen the TVC 3 3/4 Sith Trooper, and all of those look fantastic. All of those look really fantastic. I'm in love with the stark contrast. With the Royal Guards, they injected a lot of color into the universe, especially in that scene. Everything is black or white, and then you have these dudes walking around in red. Just looks pretty awesome. We got Noble Young in the chat. Noble, I love having you here. You're a good guy, Noble. Now this is really cool. But Toys R Us is coming back. Now, the online portion of Toys R Us, it's my understanding that they're being like facilitated or assisted. I'm not really sure what the word is, but they call it powered by Target, which is awesome. I think even though, and I think I mentioned this on the backlog that we recorded last week, even though stores like Best Buy and Walmart and Target are stepping up their toy game, there's something to be said about going to an actual toy store as a kid, even as an adult. And I feel like having Toys R Us back is just wonderful. Now, it's my understanding that these physical stores are going to be a little bit smaller. They're going to have play areas, a little bit less diversity of things. But I don't think that's a bad thing. If you look at Toys R Us before they went under, it was wild. You had a Babies R Us, you had like trading cards, which is awesome. I like trading cards. But then you had like bikes and just like just a big mishmash of stuff. And the actual toy section was a very small amount of that. It was like video games and just all kinds of things. And I feel like that could be a part of why, they're restructuring and they're focusing on just toys and being a place that kids want to be at. So more power to them. If they're open around Christmas, I think that'd be really good. Because my kid was never old enough to, not that you need to be a certain age to go to Toys R Us, but she was never like that age where I would take her to Toys R Us, where she could enjoy it. And I miss that. As a kid, that was the thing I always wanted to do with my kids, was take them to Toys R Us. So I think it's really, a really good thing that Toys R Us could be opening again. So, especially physical. I mean, online. I mean, you can buy things anywhere these days. But as good as Amazon is, you know, it's nice um, to be able to walk into somewhere. You know, nowadays you can buy a toy on Walmart, and you go to the front of the store, and there's a locker with your stuff in it. And not that that's not convenient. I think things like that have a place, but to be able to go and experience a toy store is, I think it's just a really valuable thing. Mervin says the old Toys R Us building by his house still has the original signs up. That's awesome, dude. You gotta take a picture and post it on Ox for me. Now this is a cool thing. Dean was this is a project that we've wanted to do for quite a while, and we talk about this a little bit in depth on the backlog. But basically, I've been trying to build something like this Dead Mouse helmet. Dead Mouse is um, I don't know, I guess you call him a DJ, like an electric music producer, and makes some wonderful music. But Seth 2 years ago told me that he wanted to make for me to make him a Dead Mouse custom. I tried a bunch of things. I tried styrofoam ball. I tried the clear Christmas ornaments, and they were all just nightmares to work with. And Dean had this great idea. He just got the Prusa Mark III S. Pretty sure I butchered that. But he had this great idea to print a 6 scale version of that helmet. The prints came out really good. This picture here has a little bit of filler, a little bit of sanding, and it. I'm just so excited because this is something that Seth, like I said, has been wanting for years. And we're doing a run of these. I think we have 10 slots. I think they're $10 each, 15 shipped if you're out of town. Don't quote me on those numbers, but I'm 99% sure that's it. And I think we have 5 ordered, so we only have 5 available. So obviously we're pretty much just charging you for the price of shipping and the price of the print time, because these do take, I think, like 8 hours. So if you want one, let me know. They're completely hollow in the main circular dome part. No seam line. No, just kidding, there's a lot of print lines, but filler primer and some 200, 400 grit sandpaper knock that right out. And yeah, they're, like I said, they're hollow, so you can put them on any figurehead if you can remove the head, and they have a neck joint. And we're really excited to do some custom stuff with it. I know Dean was making a exclusive prototype for himself, and I won't spoil it just yet, but it's gonna be really, really nice to see them done. I'm really excited. And with Seth, I know he wants a red one, and we're gonna look at doing paint, but maybe one day, depending on the budget, if we have one that comes out a little wongos. I think we're going to. I think I'd like to try to flock one in red. So we'll see. But I'm really excited for this project. Dead Mouse is uh, just. I love the aesthetic, the helmet. So we're gonna do a run of those, and I think that's quite cool. Now the Sonic trailer, the new trailer dropped this morning, and I gotta give props. I gotta give props where props are due. But I really think they nailed the redesign. Some people think that maybe it was intentional. You know, maybe they didn't tip their hand. But I feel like the backlash was so significant that I can't imagine them doing it that bad on purpose. Um, but this redesign was awesome. The trailer was great. They did new trailer music. Jim Carrey just looks awesome. Like he's gonna be awesome in this movie, and I'm really excited. This was a movie that I was not planning to see. First and foremost, um, but I'm really, really thinking I'm gonna buy a ticket for the effort that they went through to redo this whole movie. Sydney put on Facebook like an hour ago, which was after his accident. Regarding the new Sonic trailer, I'm super stoked to see it, but I'm definitely thinking they did all this on purpose. The horrible trailer and CGI Sonic just to redeem themselves. I mean, it's trending everywhere. I think it was a genius of a move. We'll see. But yeah, definitely check out the trailer. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Now, this was kind of a funny story. Um, and again, I really wish Dean was here because I feel like this story would be so much better with Dean. We have a few different cons in San Antonio. One of them is called Celebrity Fan Fest. And they put up this post on their Facebook page. And it said, you can win this priceless Star Wars The Last Jedi autographed and framed movie poster. Yes, Mark Hamill, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, and even Peter Mayhew signed it. Like we said, it was priceless. To be eligible, you must be a Celebrity Fan Fest follower on Facebook and sign up for our email newsletter to be eligible. And then they give you a link. And the winner would be announced the day of Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm pretty much an autograph noob, but some clever internet sleuths quickly pointed out that one guy says, wow, guys, this isn't even a decent attempt at real signatures. Everything about this is incredibly fake. Maybe you should get a hold of Steve Grad from Pawn Stars. Funny enough, Steve Grad from Pawn Stars was in the comments and said, yeah, this is... I did comment that it was fake. I think they're wearing horse blinders. And, I think, look at that. Dean's in the... Dean, you got to approve for me to be able to see your name. Click the link on the SoundCloud, or on the StreamYard link. But Dean says, yo, just got my stitches. Hell yeah, dude. Ben Stevens says, I'm Mark Hamill's convention guy. Mark's signature is 100% fake on that pic. Get your money back. Now, there was a lot of comments, dozens, hundreds of comments, and pretty much all of them were saying the same thing, that this was a terrible fake. Now, the company responded by basically kicking out both Steve Grad and Ben Stevens, two very famous people in the biz. And they posted a message that says, below you can view the certificate of authenticity we received when we purchased the poster that we were set to award to one of our Facebook followers. Our intent was truly genuine to award one of our fans with a timely item leading up to the release of the next Star Wars movie. After receiving much feedback, both positive and negative, first off, no one positive was commenting on that, we have elected to pause the giveaway, and they put that in quotes, which I thought was special, and allow the seller due process to either provide undeniable proof the autographs are real or refund our purchase. I will update our followers and fans as soon as I have an acceptable response from the seller. They also posted a picture of the COA, which says the certificate of authenticity warrants and guarantees that the autographs listed here is a genuine signature of this celebrated personality named. Antiquities ensures this authenticity with a money-back guarantee to the original purchaser listed below, should the autograph ever be proven not to be authentic, and is documented in writing by a licensed and certified handwriting expert. It's kind of a weird COA. It really is. It really is. If you're saying it's real and you're certifying its authenticity, and then follow that by, should the autograph ever be proven not to be authentic, I feel like you got a big problem. I just don't know. This is from Antiquities International, the forum shops at Caesar Palace. The COA looks awful, I will say. Looks like something pre-generated in Microsoft Paint, 1999 Windows version. If you want to see some real nice graphics, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. But yeah, I mean, talk about not sticking with your guns. I mean, if you're gonna issue a COA, you got to stand by that shit. Don't just say if anyone proves it to be false. I just feel like that's a really, it's not very airtight. But I mean, when you got Mark Hamill's own promoter telling you it's fake, and then you also have a dude that like does this for a living in one of the most televised businesses, I think you just got to take that L. You got to take that L and move on. So we'll see what happens. But this was initially going to be my grinds my gears because the company was banning people, they were muting people, they were deleting comments, they were just doing just dumb stuff. And, not really willing to accept criticism. And obviously, that's what happened. Custom corner time, I picked up a Legio 7 Thrawn head sculpt a few weeks ago, and it did arrive in the mail. This was a head sculpt in the hands, and I gotta say it looks pretty decent. Have not had a chance to get it painted by my wife. She had some custom work to do with Rainer, and I wanted to get his stuff done because he was gonna record today. But obviously things happened, and he is happy with the work though. I must say my wife did a wonderful job repainting this hair. I don't have a slide of it, but it was kind of he wanted a head sculpt that was with black hair painted blonde, and I think my wife absolutely killed it. But I'm really excited to get started on this Legio 7 Thrawn, so definitely stay tuned for that. And I also built my first diorama in quite a while. I used this is like a Mos Eisley Tatooine, just a generic Star Wars backdrop. I used a Black Series Vader diorama door, and I inset that into some insulation foam panels. I sold them like 3 foot by 3 foot, and I cut it down to fit the small cabinets that are behind me. And I think it looks really good. I think Dean's gonna 3D print some crates to put in it, maybe a evaporator. But I think it's gonna look really good when it's all said and done. And you can see I got my IG-11, my Mandalorian, and Cara Dune. And I was doing some toy photography pics. I was taking a picture of Hup running away from the Mandalorian and the IG-11, which I thought was pretty cool. Then they got a picture of the Mandalorian with the rifle shouldered, getting ready to take Hup out, which I thought was pretty cool too. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that, but it's the time of the show where we talk about what really grinds my gears. And it's really not surprising. At the same time, it is surprising. But the Disney Plus launch. Now, Disney Plus is a fantastic service. And admittedly, this evening it worked far better than it did last night or this morning. But a lot of people had this error message, unable to connect to Disney Plus. There seems to be an issue connecting to the Disney Plus service. Please try again later if this issue persists. Now, it was my understanding that Disney Plus was supposed to launch at like 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. Instead, at 11:30, PJ, beautiful angel, put a screenshot that his was live. My television could not find the app, and thank God I got a Fire Stick 4K because that had the app. And until almost like 1 in the morning, I couldn't get it to work on my iPhone. Then when I woke up at 8 in the morning, I couldn't get it to connect to any of those devices. And this evening it seemed to be working fine. But it was very disorganized because every website that I looked at, CNET, any sort of these tech blogs, all had different times for the service launching, for the Mandalorian dropping. Some websites were saying this was a 10 episode run, some saying it was 8. It was a huge headache. And obviously, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, but I really wish there was a very clear and concise release schedule. And then trying to log into that fucking site was just awful. It was kind of botched. At the end of the day, though, it is really great. It is really great. Mervin asked, when is the Mandalorian discussion show? Mervin, we were supposed to have that at about 7:30 this afternoon, obviously with the car accident that delayed it, because Rainer, Dean, and myself were going to watch it together for the first time together at that time. So I would say that if we're going to do a Mandalorian discussion show, which we are, Friday is Manny's bachelor party, so I would say that's probably going to be Saturday or Sunday, and we're just gonna do episode 1, episode 2. So bear with us. I'm really sorry, guys. I know a lot of people were excited to tune into the Mandalorian chat, but things kind of went sideways on us today. But we will definitely still be doing that. And Mervin says the issues are day one jitters. It could have been much worse. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I am glad though. My daughter. I mean, Disney Plus. Wow. First off, I didn't realize that I thought the Lady and the Tramp was in the theaters, but apparently you can stream the movie today. Lots of old shows that I really liked. That's a Raven, Kim Possible. Some really cool shows that were on there. And yeah, Mervin says that works for him. So Mervin, if you want to join the Mandalorian chat, we're gonna do it on StreamYard, and we'll have people commenting in. So just let me know. We'll let you know what tech you need, and we'll get you sorted if you want to join us. But yeah, Disney Plus is pretty impressive, man. I gotta say. They even released quote unquote the 4K versions of the OT. Supposed to be Dolby Atmos, all that HDR, whatever. So I don't know if they're true 4K releases, but they claim to be. So we'll see. But I think that's pretty exciting. Now let's get into a new segment. We've been doing this kind of discussion every week, and I thought, why not give it a name? This was supposed to be the name for Small Talk. We ended up obviously choosing Small Talk, but Ox Talks. So let's talk Ox. My question was, what is the most disappointing thing that you've bought this year? And for me, it was the Chogokin Gypsy Danger. It's a beautiful figure, but there's so many little panels that move. It's just an absolute nightmare to pose. If you want to put that sword in, you can either have the arm panels, because they do spread out like they do in the movie, but it's hard to get them even, and I'm very anal about like things being where they need to be without having them all crooked. It's just a nightmare. And then as you're posing that, the arms are designed to remove at the elbow to make way for the blaster cannons. Those are a huge pain in the butt. It's a beautiful figure, but man, that thing is awful to pose. Dean says it's his 6-scale Rick Hunter. From the waist down, he's not sure what it's supposed to be. It's impossible to stand / pose without the stand. It feels like 2 sticks of plastic with a hinge joint surrounded by foam, and there isn't an actual foot. Just foam inside in the shape of a shoe. It's weird. With that being said, he loves it as a whole. Mervin says for the Bat family of figures, it's Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So much so that they're already for sale. Robin and Batman sold already. Ryan says he's not disappointed, but definitely could have been better. The Hot Toys Justice League Aquaman. One thing that bugs him the most is that you can't get the arms down close to the sides. Jason S. says the bullet head Mantis. She's not atrocious, but she's not good either. The body's ridiculous and the doll hair is cheap, but you'll have to do as a stand-in until Hot Toys releases theirs, assuming that they ever do. PJ says, dude... Oh, I said this dude, I mean... I know I was getting into being such a minor character, but you never really get disappointed until you have the stuff in hand. I'm stating the obvious here, but there's nothing to this figure, really. And he's talking about the Hot Toys Royal Guard. Let's see. Eric Marscal says, my John Wick. Love the figure, but wish they added more scruff to the beard and styled the hair differently. Seen other people do custom work, and he looks spot on. They're going to hopefully do the same. That kind of bothered me, because the figure that I was talking about earlier with Rainer, that was John Wick. Manny says, this dude right here, the clothes are way too baggy, and the actual body that he was felt extremely cheap. I got rid of him almost instantly. He's talking about the NECA Retro Collection, Michael Myers. And this last, but certainly not least, was Jason Nelson, McFarlane, Gears of War, Marcus Phoenix. Again, like all McFarlane toys, the sculpt is great, but what a stupid articulation. Basically, his main issue was the hip joint, which is basically where an anatomical hip would connect, is a ball joint. And he said it adds no range of motion, and he could have knocked this one out, but they used I said they did use the ball socket type joint, but they did it wrong. And that he should apply for articulation design at McFarlane Toys to make amends. Now, guys, if you put a nomination, or not a nomination rather, if you told me what your most disappointing figure of the year is, Send me your address. I will send you one of these auxiliary Mandalorian stickers. I think they're like 3 3/4 inches wide by like an inch and a half tall. So they fit nicely on a bunch of different things. But yeah, if you were one of the 7 or 8 people that gave me some input, holla at your boy. And I'll send you an Ox sticker in the mail on Thursday. Now, we've been taking nominations for the Collecting Weekly Awards, and they're going very well. I think we have 26 people that have nominated stuff. And I wanted to start building some excitement, some discussion, by showing you one nominee in each category. Now, these that I'm showing you here will make the final 5 in each category because they were one of the figures in each category that were overwhelmingly nominated. And I talk about this on the backlog. The backlog that we recorded is going to go live Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I think that's like the 23rd or the 24th. And we talk about it on there, but there was certainly a handful of figures that were like, 1 or 2 in each category that were like, took up a huge chunk of the nominees. And I was surprised because those are individual nominees done privately. So it's good to see some consistency here. So let me take a sip of water and we'll get into some nominees. For Most Improved Company of the Year, NECA, the National Entertainment Collectibles Association, has been nominated. Round of applause for NECA. Would have been much better with 4 people. But NECA is one of our nominees for the Most Improved Company. This is a company that between this year and the last has far exceeded what it did the year prior. Next up for Best Overall Company, I'm proud to nominate Bandai. Bandai is a company that really did a lot of really good stuff this year. Figuarts line, the Robot Spirits line, the Model Kits line. They did some fantastic work, and for that they are nominated as one of 5 nominees for the Best Overall Company of the Year. Again, this would have been much better with 4 people clapping. Best Figure Under $30, I am proud to nominate The Mandalorian by Hasbro Black Series. Again, wonderful figure, easily one of my favorites this year. I give the Black Series Mandalorian the one-man golf clap. Up next, the Best 1/12 Scale Figure of the Year, I'm proud to nominate The Punisher, Netflix, by Mezco 1/12. Thunderous applause. It's a good figure. Lots of people nominated this figure. Actually, it's quite up there. Best non-scaled figure. This is a figure that is not 1/6 or 1/12 scale. I'm proud to nominate Bumblebee by 3A in their DLX line. Again, Bumblebee 3A DLX. Congratulations for your nomination. I feel like the Joker clapping. Best 1/6 scale figure of the year, Hot Toys Darth Maul. Mole? Who knows? No one knows how words are pronounced. But by Hot Toys MMS, this is a nominee. Again, this one was overwhelmingly nominated. And for the purpose of simplification, this can be the DX 16 or 17. Just whichever Darth Maul. Pretty much people just put that. They didn't put which DX number, and, we're just going to leave it at that. And our nominee, one of them for Figure of the Year, was the Hot Toys quarter scale Darth Vader from Return of the Jedi. So congratulations to those, I think, 7 nominees, 1 in each category. I'm very proud to share those with you. We've, like I said, 26 of our peers have nominated, and of those 26 people, those are one of the 7. So each category is going to have 5 nominees, and each category, the way it's going to work is once we set our 5, from December, I think it's 1st to the 16th, we will do voting. It's multiple choice. You can pick 1 in each category. We'll have this picture up there for each nominee. and then you'll A, B, C, D, E. You'll nominate which one you want, and at the end of the voting, we'll tally up all the votes, and the people that are hosts of this podcast, our votes will count a little higher, sort of like they do in the Academy Awards. The Academy, they do take into account fan votes, I believe. So we'll do some fan votes, we'll do some host voting, we'll do some math, and when it's all said and done, right here at this table, we're gonna do an award ceremony, cream of the crop. We'll have a trophy and everything, and we will talk each of the nominees, and we'll talk about the winner of each category. It's gonna be a fun show. No idea how it's gonna go. I think we have big plans for it, but we'll see how it goes. And because we have had so many awesome people nominate figures, we are doing a Clone Commando giveaway. Again, I really need everyone listening to this podcast. If you're listening, if you're not on Collecting Weekly Auxiliary Facebook group, join the Facebook group. When you're there, send me a message. I'll shoot you the link. Take you 3 seconds to do the form. Nominate me some figures. You get a chance to win a $160 Clone Commando kit by Staten Technologies. And yeah, we'll do that drawing once we announce the nominees on that podcast, which I think is December 3rd. We will, whatever that Tuesday is, we'll announce the winner live. And that's pretty much it for the show. We've had a really good show tonight. It's, like I said, it's just me today. But if you want to hear more of our show, Small Talk is recording this Thursday. I think they record about 9 or 10 p.m. Collecting Weekly is what you're listening to now. And we also have Only Fools and Collecting. We're on a bunch of platforms: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Pretty much wherever you hear audio from. Mandalorian chat, we're going to bump that to potentially Sunday. Talk to Dean about it, see how he is feeling. And you can find us again on Facebook at Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. Again, I can't stress this enough. We have like 160 people in there. Join in. We do giveaways. We do tons of fun discussion. It's a really, really good show. Really good Facebook group, rather. Everyone's really nice. Get along good. And yeah, shout outs. I wanted to give, of course, my cohorts, Dean and Rainer and Seth, who all for different reasons could not be here today. Dean and Rainer specifically, I'm so glad that you guys are all right. Definitely one of those phone calls you never want to get, but I'm glad you guys are all right. I'm glad you guys are close enough to me that I could go and assist you guys in documenting the things that you needed documented. Small Talk, Only Fools and Collecting, Dylan, Damien, Ian, Pete, and now Steve. We have a brand new host of that show. And I hear that there's going to be a knighting ceremony on the next Only Fools and Collecting. So we'll see if Ian holds it down and performs the ceremony as I asked. Mervin says, "Way to hold it down, Zach. Mervin, you beautiful angel. You let me know your address, Mervin. Remind me what it is, and I'll shoot you one of these stickers for your troubles, my friend." Darkside Customs, the United Kingdom, that's Pete's business. He is a wonderful, wonderful painter. We're actually going to be sending him some sculpts tomorrow. And I'm really excited to get those back and into the hands of their rightful owners. 6 Scale Scavengers, Brian, Chris, TC, Steve, Matt, Roy, all those beautiful angels. Beautiful angels. They run a great show. They talk Marvel, Star Wars, and just nerdy stuff. I mean, I'm sure they're going to talk some Disney Plus on Scavengers Assemble. It's a really good show. And they just got a good crew. I think Matt Mangum is coming on, I think, next Tuesday. I think we're doing a StreamYard show. So it'll be good to talk with Matt. Matt is one of the most knowledgeable people in this hobby. I think he's a wonderful speaker. Really, really excellent podcaster. So I really look forward to that show. It's going to be very, very exciting. And hopefully Dean will be able to join me on that show. Hopefully he's feeling up for it. And yeah, like I said, if you guys want to join in on the Mandalorian chat, I still got to think of a catchy title. I was thinking for that we can call it Complicated Profession, Episode 1, where we could just chat about, about some stuff. Noble Young says, I think this is a peace out emoji. I'm old and I can't see the laptop screen that well. But yeah, and then of course Dork Dad podcast. Lucky, definitely a good guy. He's been doing lots of content on his Instagram, lots of content on his podcast feed. Really, really cool guy. Real quick though, do me a favor if you're listening, if you like my show, our show, Collecting Weekly, I feel like it's an our thing. There's a local newspaper in San Antonio called The Current, and on Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, I put a link for a nomination thread, and it would mean the world to me. It really would if you could nominate us in the podcasting category for the best of San Antonio. We've worked pretty hard on the show. I'm really proud of this fact. I don't know that we have the best show in the world. We have fun, of course, and we have a great handful of guys and gals that really enjoy the show, and that means the world to me. But we're here every Tuesday. We work hard on the show for you guys, putting it together. And I'm proud to say that this year, up to this point, there's never been a Wednesday, which is when those go uploaded, that our listeners have not gotten content. I'm very proud of that. So if you like our show and you feel like we deserve the nomination, it would mean the world to me if you can fill that out. It takes about 2 seconds. You just put the name of the podcast, Collecting Weekly, and your email. And I think in a few weeks they announce the winners of who gets into the final voting. But every nomination counts, and even if we don't make the final cut, this is our first real full year of taking this seriously. I think it'd mean the world if we could even just get a handful of nominations. So definitely check that out, and Apple Podcasts as well. Give us a 5-star rating. We've been busting our butts. So if you like the show, show some love on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars because it really does mean quite a bit to us when we see that. So I think that's pretty much it for the show. I just don't know how to end it by myself. Well, I'm Zach. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And this is where Dean would put in a lovely bye. But hopefully we won't go another week without hearing his beautiful voice on the podcast. And hopefully I won't have to do this solo thing again because honestly, the first 20 minutes, I was super nervous and it was awful. So thank you guys for bearing with me today, Mervin, Noble, Jason, anyone else in the chat that was here tonight. I really appreciate it. And catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Okay, guys, I'm exhausted. This is a little later than we normally record, so I'll catch you guys later. And this show will be up. It'll be up tomorrow, probably about 11, 12 o'clock. Peace out.